Tonight, what's next for the Kitchener Encampment?
Creating a framework for people to exist in public without being illegal is something that is within the scope of municipal powers.
Examining the idea of a safe tenting protocol instead of a longer legal battle. Also, what about that site and the plan to build a new transit hub?
I think the region can have a reasonable confidence about the timelines for them to construct their elements of this system.
A check on where the major project stands and the changing timelines. Plus, a Canadian first in flight in Breslau.
Before we could only tell you about it.
The electric experience.
Now it's open for any enthusiast who says, I really wonder what is it like to have a quieter airplane.
In the air. Good evening. We begin with the heightened discussion over the future of a downtown Kitchener encampment. Advocates for the homeless are disappointed that the region is appealing a court ruling halting the site's eviction rather than setting up a safe tenting protocol for the residents, which is one of the options suggested in the court ruling, as the region and the province try to take over the land for a future transit hub. CTV's Jeff Pickle joins us now with more on this. Jeff, this is really opening up a wider conversation about where it is legal to live.
And Tony, pretty explicitly, Justice Gibson said right now the Victoria Street encampment is the only place unsheltered people have any legal standing. And until this changes, the region will likely be in a breach of the charter. But despite this, there appears little appetite for this safe tenting protocol idea. Instead, the region focusing on a third legal challenge.
After hours of delegations, the decision to appeal a court ruling over the downtown Kitchener encampment means the legal battle drags on.
I really support the idea of learning more about what option works best for our community.
Regional Councillor Matt Rodriguez was one of 4 members of council who thought there was a better solution.
We heard a lot yesterday about safe tenting, about managed encampments, which really fall under this category of a place of last resort.
A safe tenting protocol mentioned in the recent court ruling as an option the region should consider. The lack of a legal place to live outdoors appearing to be a major factor in Justice Michael Gibson's decision, saying in part, the region has clearly stated that if the encampment is closed, it is not prepared to allow homeless people to shelter outdoors anywhere on region property. And the extremity of this position is what ultimately drives the findings that the infringements are not saved by the charter. Experts say a safe tenting protocol is an efficient way to bring some order to a chaotic situation.
Without a framework, it causes a lot of confusion and uncertainty over what is permitted and what isn't permitted, which can lead to frustration. And then most of the time it is in fact illegal, according to municipal bylaw.
According to Laura Pinn, a homelessness researcher and professor at Wilfrid Laurier University, many communities like London, Peel Region, and the city of Guelph have adopted similar strategies. She says these policies typically take 2 forms.
One is specific locations that are designated for safe tenting, and that's an approach that's been recently adopted by the municipality of Thunder Bay. They have 3 locations. Those are places where you can tent and shelter overnight. The other approach that we've seen is you can tent in any location where where you meet certain criteria. And so in that case, the default is that tenting is permitted, but there are regulations around it as well.
According to Pinn and others, a policy like this would be enough to satisfy charter rights.
With the court ruling, the bar is low. People need to have somewhere to exist in public, but creating a framework for people to exist in public without being illegal is something that is within the scope of municipal powers and something that they could do.
And Councillor Pam Wolf brought forward a motion back in January of this year for staff to explore a safe tenting policy, but the motion was voted down. And at this point in time, there are no public plans to bring it back. Tony.
All right, Jeff, thank you. CTV's Jeff Pickle reporting. As for that site and the property nearby, we're getting a new look at the plan for a major transit hub and a timeline of when it's expected to open. CTV's Alexandra Hollick breaks down the designs and what commuters can expect.
The corner of King and Victoria Streets in downtown Kitchener could go from this to this in the next 5 years. That's according to a project timeline outlined by Region of Waterloo staff. The Kitchener Central Transit Hub will be a 2-story building connecting commuters to Grand River Transit, Via Rail, Go Transit, LRT, and localized bus services. It'll feature bike storage, retail space, and a pedestrian path to the Iron Horse Trail, with construction set to start in 2027.
In general, I think it's reasonable, but you never know what's going to happen.
Jeff Casello is a professor in transportation planning and engineering at the University of Waterloo. He says there are many moving parts when it comes to major projects, and the transit hub is no exception.
I think the region can have a reasonable confidence about the timelines for them to construct their elements of this system. Of course, the interactions with the rail system and with the GO system and with the VIA system, that's trickier.
The region says work is already underway. In a statement to CTV News, a spokesperson says design is now about 60% complete, and work on the drawing board should wrap up by the end of this year. Substantial completion of the transit hub is currently expected in 2030, with some site work extending into 2031.
I don't think we're talking about Eglinton crosstown delays and that kind of delay, but I always caution the public to think that the public sector is doing their best to deliver a project on time and on budget, but there are some times where things are unforeseen and it's difficult.
The project has already been plagued with delays. Regional land at 100 Victoria Street is supposed to be used as a staging ground by Metrolinx, but for the last 5 years, it's served as a homeless encampment, one the region has tried to evict residents from on at least 2 occasions, but failed.
This project, I think, is because it's adjacent to it, it's going to draw lots of attention to that, and it's going to be important that we do that right for the well-being of our community.
The region says it plans to appeal a Superior Court ruling on the encampment, though it likely won't be heard for months. Even then, it says the plan is to keep moving forward and meet timeline targets. Alexandra Hullock, CTV News, Kitchener.
Okay, time for a first look at the weather. Leanne Evans is in studio with us once again tonight. And once again today, kind of a similar situation where the longer the day went on, the more threatening the sky looked.
Yeah, it's so true. I think we got a couple extra hours out there today, but nice. It is starting to get darker and darker out there even this hour.
And lots of information right behind you on that board by the looks of it.
Exactly, and that comes with all that cloud cover. We've got a special weather statement in place for Waterloo Region and many surrounding communities. Tonight heading into tomorrow, we're looking at strong winds, heavy amounts of rain at times, and the potential for thunderstorms overnight tonight into tomorrow. Wind gusts looking at upwards of about 90 kilometers an hour at the peak, and we're also looking at rainfall in excess of about 40 millimeters of localized accumulation over the next 24 hours. So this storm, very impactful, and it's going to move very rapidly across the Great Lakes. And as you can see, it is quickly approaching the Windsor area and making its way towards us here in Waterloo Region, with it bringing embedded thunder showers, especially as we get into the overnight hours tonight, looking at heavy amounts of rainfall in a quick period of time too. This could be a pretty threatening June storm that we're set to see into the overnight hours here locally. Temperatures right now 18 degrees. The winds fairly light out of the south, upwards of about 24 kilometers an hour, and temperatures around Waterloo Region hovering that 20-degree mark for most communities. It's 22 in Toronto, 19 in Mount Forest, 18 along the shores of Lake Huron. So coming up in a little bit, we'll break down that storm and find out just how much of an impact it's going to have on us here locally. Tony.
All right, Leanne, thank you very much. Talk to you shortly. A townhouse development plan in Cambridge is getting some pushback. Developers want to rezone an area around Atwater Drive and Dundas South for 132 stacked townhouse units. But for some councillors, the amount of parking that's being planned is a sticking point. Here's CTV's Colton Weens.
We're trying to attract families into Cambridge, but come here, but sorry, don't have a car.
Concerns from Cambridge councillors at a statutory planning and development committee meeting Tuesday. Developers proposing 132 stacked townhouse units around Atwater Drive and Dundas Street South. They're requesting a bylaw amendment to rezone the lands from multiple residential to residential, but much of the discussion surrounded parking.
Especially in this particular area, having access for people to park their vehicles is a concern.
Across the two developments, 165 parking spaces are expected, 33 for visitors. A planner from the GSP group telling committee it meets the required 1.25 parking spaces for each unit, but they've heard the comments.
So that is what the site plan has been based on. We made sure not to come in under that and adjusted the site plan to meet that parking requirement. Comment noted. I can take that back.
There is also no transit in the area yet, and as committee members pointed out, most homes have more than one vehicle.
The problem is it's not enough.
Somebody that has children of driving age, they've simply got a partner that also drives too. These will not be of use to them. And that's really what our concern is.
Neighbors in the area say on-street parking is already an issue, and they're worried with only 1.25 spaces available for the units in the townhomes, how that will affect on-street parking in the area.
There will be heavy population in a crowded area in here. That's number one. Parking is one concern.
Not overly busy at this point, but eventually I feel like it might.
Beyond parking concerns, residents also worry about a lack of amenities nearby as they see more housing going up, but nothing else that makes it a neighborhood.
No parks, no bus yet.
There is no commercial viability in this area. We have to drive like 3 to 4 kilometers for every basic thing. We don't have public transit in the area. So these are certain basic concerns we do have. We're not asking for like big things, but the basic amenities we are looking for in here.
The rezoning application will go to City Council on July 21st, where a decision is expected. Colton Ween, CTV News, Cambridge.
A groundbreaking today for a new elementary school in a fast-growing part of southwest Kitchener. Local community leaders joined MPPs and public school board officials for a ceremony celebrating the $31 million Rosenberg II Elementary School along Rosenberg Way, not far from Fisher Hallman and Bleems. The school is expected to have a capacity for 600 students and 88 new childcare spaces. It's tentatively expected to open in September 2028. An Ontario mayor's race may soon have a familiar, high-profile challenger, someone who previously held the position. Bonnie Crombie, who was mayor of Mississauga for a decade and left to be Liberal leader, is considering running for her old job. CTV's Siobhan Morris reports.
2 years ago, Bonnie Crombie was beaming with praise for Carolyn Parish on by-election night.
You will be a formidable mayor.
Crombie had given up the job to become Ontario Liberal leader. But after a disappointing finish in last year's provincial election,
I know tonight isn't exactly the result we were looking for.
And a humbling leadership review last fall,
I promised you I would listen.
Crombie now says she's considering options that may involve a return to Mississauga City Hall, complicating the campaign that's already underway.
I don't think Mississauga deserves to be a backup plan or anyone's second choice.
Mississauga's looking forward, and I'm looking forward. We're not looking back.
Carolyn Parish wouldn't weigh in on Crombie's future plans, writing, "Until she actually registers, I'm not interested in participating in a flurry of publicity. Happy to comment after she actually registers." Former Liberal MPP and councillor Deepika Demirla is making the case for change.
Property taxes have gone up 30% over the last 4 years. Not sustainable.
Alvin Teja was runner-up in the mayoral by-election and suggests a Crombie comeback is out of step with what voters face.
Growing unaffordability in the city and increasing property taxes. I think if they want more of the same, they have two options now, potentially.
The Premier, who is actually my hero.
The Premier's made clear where his allegiance is.
I will send an army down here to make sure I support Mayor Parish. So what I say to Mayor Bonnie Crombie, bring it on. Let's go.
This man would welcome Crombie's name on the ballot this fall.
She's done a lot for the community here, and she continues to do that. So I believe and I strongly feel that she should come back.
Other voters are okay with the path the city's on.
No, I think the current one is doing a good job too. Streets more cleaner, or maybe because of the World Cup, I don't know.
But with a lot of time before Election Day.
She was there before, let's see what happens, what she has to offer.
Would-be candidates have until August 21st to sign up to run for mayor or other council positions. Voters in Mississauga and municipalities across the province head to the polls October 26th. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
It's day 7 of the World Cup. Across Waterloo Region, you could find fans glued to screens watching games this afternoon, including Portugal and the Democratic Republic of Congo and the Croatia-England game. CTV's Heather Centerin is live now from the KW Croatian Club at a watch party. Heather, that must have been a great place to watch that Croatia-England match, which has still been underway.
A lot of excitement here today, Tony. There was singing, there
it's antics. I wonder if you can techniques that have an outdoor space here so they can really have room for all of that. And earlier this afternoon, we were at this bakery for another viewing party.
Passionate Portugal fans are proud to root for their team for the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Oh, we're loud, very loud, yeah. But it's good. It's good to be. I think the sport wants you to be loud.
Fans say it isn't always just about the score. The Portugal versus DR Congo game ended in a draw.
The people, the crowd, and just sitting here, like, you know, you get the people's cheering and all that. You can't get better than that. I love it.
Over at the KW Croatia Club, an outdoor, family-friendly experience.
Every time that England scores, Croatia always comes back, and they come back harder and better, so I'm excited to see them win. Woo!
He isn't the only one jumping for joy. Croatia scoring twice in the first half to match England's first 2 goals. The Croatia club taking cheering to the next level. The president of the club says whatever the outcome, he's proud of Croatia.
The players, the English are a strong squad. They've always been a strong squad. But the Croats are warriors. We will fight to the end.
The final score of that game was 4-2 for England. There are 2 more games tonight, and tomorrow Canada plays at 6 p.m. Tony.
Gee, despite that score, love the energy over there. Thanks, Heather. CTV's Heather Senerin reporting live. And Canada plays its second World Cup match tomorrow, squaring off against Qatar. Right now, our men's national team is holding its final practice. The Canadians are looking for their first ever World Cup win on home soil. All but 15 minutes of this afternoon's training session was held behind closed doors. The team's been tight-lipped about whether the captain, Alphonso Davies, will be able to play when tomorrow's match kicks off at 6 p.m. Eastern in Vancouver. Davies has been recovering since suffering a torn ligament last month. Canada's opponent also got into practice today. Qatar has only faced our national team once, with the Canadians winning 2-0 at a friendly back in 2022. Qatar is ranked 56th in the world by FIFA. Canada 30th, but the Qataris should be confident heading into tomorrow's match at BC Place Stadium. They played to a 1-1 draw with Switzerland on the weekend. Canada plays the Swiss next on Wednesday in its final group stage match. And a quick programming note for you, we will be carrying the game live FIFA coverage tomorrow right here on CTV. So we're going to be preempted tomorrow at 6. You can watch a special webcast on ctvnewskitchener.ca right at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Well, coming up, local technology aiming to help organize a busy time of life. CTV's Spencer Turcott tells us about Elderella and its mission to help those involved in elder care.
We are under a special weather statement here in Waterloo Region, and we're watching this low pressure system that is going to bring some heavy rainfall at times and thunder showers too. We'll break it all down coming up in the full forecast.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvkitchener.ca, your home for news.
We're approaching the busy summer festival season, and there are plenty of activities that'll bring crowds together. One man in Toronto, though, advising people to be aware of their surroundings at large-scale events. He claims his cell phone was stolen by pickpockets. CTV's John Musselman has his story.
Carlos Lopez says he decided to channel his anger and frustration into something positive after he and his girlfriend both had their cell phones stolen by pickpockets at the recent Due West Fest on Dundas Street.
It was really quick. It's really quick. I didn't notice any hands going into my pockets. She didn't notice. The only thing that we remember was that person distracting us.
Lopez says the thieves didn't just take his phone, they stole some precious memories.
There was the last pictures of my father that passed away, and those pictures were priceless to me. Those were memories that I was carrying with me, and they took that away from me.
These few photos are all he has left of his father. Lopez is now on a mission to make sure other people aren't victimized by pickpockets. He's showing up at public events with this sign to make sure people are paying attention to their valuables.
The best feeling, knowing that I'm doing something to help, bringing awareness about this issue that is happening in our cities.
Lopez says a woman approached his girlfriend at the festival to compliment her clothing. It was loud and crowded. He believes that's when the phones were stolen. Toronto police confirmed to CTV News pickpockets were working the crowd at Due West Fest. Look at these numbers: 66 calls for service, 41 reported thefts under 5,000, 36 pickpocketing of cell phones. More than 5,000 cell phones were stolen in Toronto last year, and the numbers keep rising. Most phones end up in other countries or they're sold for parts. Police offer these tips to protect yourself. Stay aware of your surroundings. Keep your belongings zipped up. Be cautious when approached by strangers, and avoid placing valuables on tables or hanging bags on chairs. For his part, Lopez knows he likely won't ever see his phone again, but he wants pickpocket thieves to know he will be out warning people all about them. John Musselman, CTV News.
Turning chaos into care is the goal of a Made in Waterloo Region app that aims to create coordinated plans for anyone looking after an older family member. CTV's Spencer Turcott shows us how Elderella works.
You can see here in Elderella is Grace Thompson's profile. So this is one of the elders that we use.
As Canada's population ages, more families are finding themselves in a caregiving role. For many, keeping track of appointments, medications, and medical updates can feel like a full-time job.
And 1 in 4 people are now caregiving for somebody in their lives, and we're only going to see that increase.
That's why Mike Kirkup and Jackie Murphy created Elderella. The app, which has free and premium versions, acts as a central hub for caregiving.
You're trying to work full-time and you're providing care for your aging parents, and something's got to give.
Users can store important medical information and reminders in one place while sharing updates with family members, with what the company says are strict privacy and data safeguards.
Oh yeah, like that. We should definitely show that. We lock into where you're actually having the conversation. So if you're sitting there talking with your sibling over WhatsApp or text message, we can actually access those messages.
It can also record doctor appointments or calls and pulls out the information you need to be reminded about. Or you can simply upload a photo or note. Then everything is organized into daily tasks, which can be accessed by one or several caregivers.
What we really want to do is emphasize the fact that you're not alone as a primary caregiver, and it shouldn't be too hard for you to ask for help or to delegate some of the things that you have on your plate to others.
For Brent Thornton, who helps care for his parents while living an hour away, being able to split responsibilities in an organized way with other family members has been the biggest benefit.
Without Elderella, in this scenario, I'm probably managing a 7th shared calendar and trying to share out notes from my, Google Drive, trying to rely too much on my failing memory.
Researchers will spend the next year collecting feedback from caregivers as part of a study on whether tools like Elderella can reduce stress and help families coordinate care. Because the hardest part often isn't the care itself, it's feeling like you're carrying the responsibility alone. Spencer Turcott, CTV News Kitchener.
All right, here's a live look outside, just outside our studios in Kitchener's Deer Ridge area. We've had quite a bit of cloud moving in this afternoon, and as Leanne was mentioning earlier, with that cloud comes a lot of footnotes about what we're expecting in the weather, certainly over the next 24 to 48 hours anyway. We will check in with Leanne on all of those weather advisories in just a couple of minutes. Also coming up, flights of the future. Krista Simpson takes us to some aviation innovation that you can get on board with right here in our backyard. And no official meeting, but a lot of one-on-one chatter. What Prime Minister Carney is taking away from his moments with President Trump at the G7 in France. We're back with Leanne for a look at our forecast. It's It's only a couple of days away from the first day of summer.
Yes.
And the sky and the sun, everything weather-wise is what I meant to say, is kind of letting us know that we're in that transition of seasons.
I know, it's telling us we are still in spring. It's not letting us out just yet, because we have seen a little bit of that roller coaster over the past couple of days. Similar today, what we saw yesterday, starting off with nice sunshine in the morning and then that cloud cover building up through the afternoon.
Happy to report, got all of my outdoor things done before it got too threatening today.
You are on the perfect shift for this. Because you are working around 4 o'clock is when you're coming in this week, and it's working out for you.
And we got, let me tell you, we got a downpour here while we were working last night. It didn't last for very long, but boy, did we ever hear it on the roof around, I'm going to say 10:30, quarter to 11 last night.
And that's kind of what you're going to see with this system too. Heavy amounts of rain at times, but not that consistent rainfall that we see throughout some summer storms. So here we go. Let's take a live look outside. And as you can see, we are starting to see a little bit of rain out there in downtown Kitchener, uptown Waterloo. And I just poked my head outside of our studios in the Sports World area of Kitchener and noticed that we are seeing a little bit of drizzle right now as well. Nothing too threatening at this time, but we know that this is just the beginning because it's coming with a pretty strong low pressure system that's moving fast, tracking across the Great Lakes. And this is just the beginning of what we're seeing from that system. But let's take a look at this special weather statement that is in place due to that by Environment Canada for strong winds, heavy rain, and the potential for some threatening thunder showers at times. Wind gusts upwards of about 90 kilometers an hour at the peak. And we're looking at rainfall amounts in excess of about 40 millimeters of localized accumulation over the next 24 hours. So keep this in mind if you're needing to do any driving or any commuting overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, because that's when we're really going to see the bulk of the system pass over Waterloo Region. As you can see, approaching the 8 o'clock hour tonight, we are seeing that system really track from the Windsor area up through. Windsor actually looking at potentially this record-breaking low pressure system in that area with this storm. So we're going to keep that in mind too as the system tracks across the Great Lakes. We're noticing these embedded thunder showers. The dark green is heavier pockets of rainfall. Like we kind of talked about, it will come in bursts, not all at once. So there will be some drier periods of just drizzle as well with this system through the morning hours tomorrow. And as this makes its way out, we will see some drier breaks by tomorrow evening, but the chance of shower activity to come with it. We are still waiting to see exactly where this system is going to track as well. So we'll have to wait and see into the overnight hours tonight just how much of it we get here locally. But as you can see, by Friday afternoon, we're seeing just a little bit of cloud cover. That system likely staying south of Waterloo Region. The wind gusts are going to be a big part of this story. Gusts upwards of about 70 to 90 kilometers an hour over the next 24 hours or so, and then things should taper as we get into the overnight hours Thursday into Friday. Again, looking at upwards of about 35 to 40 millimeters of rain here locally. Okay, let's talk about temperatures today because we were pretty close to seasonal. Right now, we're currently sitting at 18 degrees in KW. It's 21 in Toronto, 17 in London, 19 in Windsor. Humidex not really playing a factor today. We did get up to a daytime high of 21 degrees. Normal for this time of year is 24, so as mentioned, just slightly below seasonal, but pretty close to it for today. Overnight tonight, we are dropping to a low of 14 degrees, so it won't cool off too much more from what we're seeing right now. That risk of thunderstorms, of course, sticking with us as we get into the morning hours too. The winds shifting tomorrow out of the southwest with gusts lessening a little bit to about 70 kilometers an hour. And we're looking at a daytime high of about 20 degrees at this time. Okay, as we take a look at the long range forecast, we do have the chance of some precipitation to stick around Friday and Saturday. But again, this is not a complete washout whatsoever once we get past this system. And then as you can see, Sunday, first day of summer, plenty of sunshine, 24 degrees. What a way to welcome summer in. And in the Windsor area, things looking fairly similar for you folks. That system should be out of your neck of the woods by Friday. Of course, as it passes towards the eastern portions of the province and south of the border. 24 degrees, the daytime high on Friday, 23 on Saturday. And in southern Georgian Bay, expecting that shower activity to last until about the evening hours overnight Thursday. Friday, plenty of sunshine. Temperatures a little bit cooler, but still great conditions to welcome the first day of summer with a high of 18 degrees on Sunday.
Love the chair, by the way.
Yeah, the chair looks good, hey?
That chair
Get
looks
ready to relax.
It looks inviting.
Okay, here's today's Weather Watcher picture. It's from Amanda. This was taken in Waterloo. I had to use this one. Look at the geese commuting, trying to get across the street.
Wow.
I know. And you know, I have a little bit of a fear of geese.
Yes.
So this is kind of my worst nightmare. If I was out for a walk with my dog Ruby, I would not be happy to come across this.
And you and I do a lot of walking in a part of the region where it's not great to have a fear of geese. You have to learn to coexist with them.
You know, I think they are afraid of dogs, or maybe dogs taunt them, because whenever I'm with her, it's like, we need to go the other way around. I can't be attacked by a geese.
The hissing begins.
I don't like it.
No. Nobody needs that.
So I thought that was a great Weather Watcher picture.
That was a very good one, yeah. That encapsulates something that a lot of us can identify with in this area, that's for sure.
Certainly.
All right. Leanne, thank you.
Thank you.
Prime Minister Carney is returning from the G7 summit without having had an official one-on-one with President Trump. He's giving insight, though, into his interactions with the president and his reaction to the tentative peace deal between the U.S. and Iran. Here's CTV's Mike LeCouture.
He had asked me about it on China.
Prime Minister Mark Carney explaining the hot mic moment captured at yesterday's G7 summit, confirming he was explaining the details to President Donald Trump about Canada's deal to allow Chinese EVs into the country.
And he likes the structure, actually. We had a follow-up conversation about it as well.
I don't know that I said I like it, but I could understand that, yeah.
Is that a factor?
Cap? Would I rather see a cap than no cap? Yeah, I would. On Canada.
Carney says the two leaders had several conversations, but none of them included the CUSMA renewal.
I would rather not have the agreement, but I may sign it.
Right.
But we do better as a country if we don't have an agreement.
So are you thinking of...
Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe we won't be able to make a deal. I would rather not have the USMCA.
One of the bigger discussions at the G7 was the Iran deal. In a joint statement, leaders agreed there is a need to diversify trade routes to prevent choke points for energy supply chains, as we saw with the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. The statement also says, quote, "We welcome the potential for Canada to deliver significant additional capacity to global markets in the coming years." Carney says there are a number of projects and plans, both online and in the works.
There's other European offtakes in the work for Canadian LNG, and then as well, expansion of TMX, the oil pipeline.
Back in Ottawa, Conservatives had this reaction to that proposal.
This is evolving a little bit. It needs to evolve a lot faster than it has. It's a great resource we have in Canada. The whole world knows it's a great resource. It's been constrained by bad government policy.
Carney also described the Iran deal as a game changer, as he feels Trump's view of the war in Ukraine is shifting.
Change in orientation, a more realistic, in our view, expectation of where this war was going to go, and the position against Russia, the tightening of sanctions against Russia, the ability to provide additional defensive support for Ukraine.
The G7 leaders also agreed to consider giving Ukraine the critical licenses to increase domestic military production for things like missiles. It's something that President Volodymyr Zelensky has been asking for since last year. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Evian, France.
Relying on AI to crunch numbers, maybe not so much. A revealing new look at Canadians' thoughts on artificial intelligence as a budgeting assistant. A new poll shows most Canadians would rather not rely on artificial intelligence when it comes to making big financial decisions. TD Bank surveyed more than 2,500 Canadian adults earlier this year. More than half of them said they were fine with banks using AI to track their spending and credit scores, while half were comfortable using the technology to figure out their budgets. But 71% of respondents said they still place greater confidence in human intelligence over AI. Only 1 in 3 said they would trust AI over their parents when it comes to asking for financial advice. There's been a significant change in the makeup of Canada's population. Fewer immigrants were admitted in the first quarter of the year. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver looks at why and the implications.
Meet Kumar Pathak came to Canada from India 13 years ago as an international student looking for new opportunities. In the years since, he's become a Canadian citizen and a business owner. But for many of his friends, the ending hasn't been as happy.
A lot of my close friends, a lot of my relatives, that they are going back to India because they cannot have the right opportunity here and the right time, you know. So it's very tough, very, very tough right now in Canada for immigrant.
According to Statistics Canada, the population dipped by about 55,000 people in the first 3 months of 2026. A big reason, a 20% drop in the number of permanent immigrants from around 104,000 in Q1 of 2025 to just over 83,000 in Q1 of 2026. A reflection, immigration lawyers say, of the federal government's lower immigration targets and longer processing times.
There's always more demand for the number of spaces than we have actual spaces in any given year. However, I do see a sea change happening because we're starting to see now that people are looking elsewhere other than Canada for their career opportunities and their futures.
Those immigration cuts mean the arrival of newcomers is no longer propping up population growth that continues to be dragged down by declining fertility rates.
Canada as a country, we've been experiencing declining fertility for the past few decades. The baby boom was a blip in terms of that increased fertility level. Since then, we've been on that downward trajectory.
If this trend continues, economists say that economic growth could be impacted. Statistics Canada says this is all based on preliminary data and that final updates will be available in September. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
One of Canada's oldest female-led charities marked a milestone in Goderich today. CTV's Scott Miller has that story.
With all the pomp and circumstance of royalty, the women who lead one of Canada's oldest charitable groups are piped into their group's 125th anniversary celebration today in Goderich.
We started in 1901, June 17th, 1901 is when the first charter was actually signed. And we are Canada's oldest and largest IODE chapter in Canada.
Goderich's chapter of the Imperial Order of the Daughters of the Empire started 125 years ago today, just 1 year after the national organization was created to help soldiers returning and heading out to fight in the Boer War.
We're very, very different today than we were in 1900, for sure. But I think that's the part of the beauty of IODE. We've evolved over 126 years now to whatever is needed because every single region, every single community can do what's needed in their community.
The Maple Leaf chapter of the IODE started Goderich's first hospital. Now they raise money through their consignment store to fund hospital equipment and other community projects.
It's all about care, service to others, and investing in our community.
For some of the longest serving members, the entirely female organization is empowering to be a part of.
I had a couple good friends that were members and thought I would like to be a member as well. And I do enjoy it. It's 50 years now, so.
All the chapters I've been into have been wonderful. And they are so giving and so hardworking. And it makes you want to give more and be more involved with them.
Dressed in their finest fashion from yesteryear, the 81 members of Goderich's IODE celebrated today's milestone, eager to see what the next 125 years will look like for their all-female charitable organization.
We started before women could vote, and we are older than the Lions Club, the Rotary Club, and the Legion.
In Goderich, Scott Miller, CTV News.
A new bench boss in Leaf Nation. Just ahead, a closer look at a big change after a disappointing season. The Toronto Maple Leafs announced today they've signed a new head coach. Jim Hiller will be the 41st head coach in franchise history, new to the job but not new to the team. CTV's Janice Golding reports.
After an extensive search, the Toronto Maple Leafs have a new head coach.
Opportunity of a lifetime. It really is.
Jim Hiller, the former bench boss of the Los Angeles Kings, named the Leafs' 41st head coach.
I did not see this coming. I mean, the Leafs said that they had an initial 55 name list of people that they spoke to when they started this process of finding the replacement for Craig Berube. They kept this under wraps.
While the move may have come as a surprise to some Leafs fans, especially given the other names in contention, Hiller has history with the Leafs, having served as an assistant coach from 2015-2019 under Mike Babcock.
Which is great, because he understands the legacy that Toronto has and what he has to do to make them better so they win a Stanley Cup.
Hiller has worked with stars Austin Matthews and Willem Nylander before.
Maybe Hiller can do a better job unlocking Austin Matthews and getting this team to perform better. Because let's face it, defensively, they took a major nosedive.
This is the 57-year-old's second NHL head coaching opportunity, previously serving on the LA Kings bench starting midway through the 2023-2024 season before he was fired March 1st.
We didn't hire to satisfy a narrative or check a box. We hired based on what we believed would be best to support your growth, both individually and collectively.
Hiller himself describing his strategy for the organization.
A lot of our emphasis will be in just recreating, reigniting, and growing and strengthening the spirit of the hockey team. And I think that when you leave the dressing room with that translates directly onto the ice.
Fans say they hope the new coach and new direction will pay off.
I think a change was needed. Craig Berube hockey for the Leafs obviously didn't work out.
He was slept on for a little bit. No one really knew, so I think he'll bring some good to the team.
It's tough, right? Like we're always getting rid of the coach. We're always moving pieces around. So hopefully this year we have a much better year.
Janice Golding, CTV News.
Lots of thoughts in Leaf Nation about that move, that's for sure. Okay, Leanne is here now with a preview of our forecast.
Yeah, we're watching for this system that is waiting in the wings and quickly approaching Waterloo Region. Special weather statements in place by Environment Canada. It is set to be quite the June storm, I think, overnight. We'll have your wake-up weather coming up. Another rainy night in the middle of the week, so you can sit down and get cozy. We've got E-Talk followed by The Big Bang Theory and a movie for your Wednesday evening tonight on CTV.
KW's Bounce 99.5 has the music you just can't quit. Listen all summer for your chance to win. Turn the lights off, carry me home. With Bounce to your backyard.
Did you notice our new little bounce music mix?
Yeah, I love it.
Stevie Nicks is gone.
Oh, are you sad?
Not really, because we got TLC and we got Blink, so that's...
We gotta get you practicing the pour some sugar on me.
The Def Leppard. That was the one that threw me at first. All right, the weather's going to throw us for a bit tonight because we've got a system moving in with a lot of rain.
Yeah, so put your songs on and...
Good call.
Do some house cleaning maybe, or watch some Netflix and chill. Yeah, we're watching this special weather statement that is going to be in place overnight tonight into tomorrow. 17 degrees waking up, so temperatures fairly nice, but that risk of thunderstorm and showers persists throughout the morning hours.
And finally for us, a chance to experience air travel of the future. Anyone can now take a flight on a groundbreaking electric plane at the Waterloo Wellington Flight Centre.
That aircraft is one of just a few in Canada. Here's CTV's Krista Simpson with the details.
This is the east central part of Kitchener, as seen from the perspective of a passenger in an all-electric airplane.
It's an incredible experience. It's definitely something that's different than what we do every day.
This Velis Electro is one of two at the Waterloo Wellington Flight Centre. One is used for research with the Waterloo Institute for Sustainable Aeronautics at the University of Waterloo. The other is now available for members of the public to take a scenic flight, thanks to regulatory changes made last year by the federal government.
Before, we could only tell you about it, and our research assistants, the research team, of course, had the experience, but now it's open for any enthusiast who says, I really wonder what is it like to have a quieter airplane.
The aircraft arrived in the region in 2022 and has undergone extensive testing since.
Everything that we've done showed that the plane is safe, the plane is reliable.
Powered by 2 batteries, it can carry about 180 kilograms or about 400 pounds in passenger weight, offering a chance for members of the public to try it, seen as an important next step.
It is very educational for public. They are building trust.
The plane can fit 1 pilot and 1 passenger, and they'll spend about 30 minutes in the air.
Definitely a very small airplane, nice and tightly packed, meant to be aerodynamic.
Aidan Albrechtas says many who go up in it want to see their house or university campus.
Oftentimes you can see the Toronto skyline as well, down to Lake Ontario towards Hamilton. So great visibility out there. See a lot more than you think.
The experience different from other flights.
Just the refinement of it all, the lack of vibration. There is still some noise, but less noise. And the fact that the windows are super clear and you can see so much out of them really brings up the experience for me.
The aircraft operates under visual flight rules, meaning it doesn't go up in poor weather. A flight costs about $267 plus tax and can be booked through the Flight Centre's website.
We'll be flying all summer into the late fall. The only thing that will stop us, of course, is weather.
This is the beginning of the electric aviation age.
In anticipation of a future where electric planes are the norm, not the exception. Krista Simpson, CTV News, Breslau.
Whole different perspective when you get to fly in an aircraft that small.
Yeah, that looks exciting too. So I'd like to give that a try.
It really would be cool. I agree. All right, well, new at 11:30 tonight, Karis Map is actually out at Grow Public School in Kitchener right now. It's the big annual Grow Garage Sale. These are incredible students. Wait till you see them and hear from them. And I'll say it this way. I think we threw to the story last year, actually.
Yes.
It's going to leave you feeling good about our future being in good hands, these kids.
Yep, and I think everything this year is in support of kids' ability, which is
It is.
Too.
Yep. Great social enterprise. Okay, that's going to do it for us. We are going to be preempted tomorrow because of FIFA, but you can catch us online at 6 p.m. tomorrow, ctvnewskitchener.ca.